The night air in Paris is electric as a sleek black Mercedes idles at the curb. Inside, Philippe, a wealthy quadriplegic, sits motionless in his wheelchair, his gaze fixed on the dimly lit street. His chauffeur is late. Impatient, Driss, the ex-con who's only here to get a signature for his unemployment benefits, presses the accelerator. The engine roars, tires screech, and they burst through the red light. Driss's grin widens as the traffic lights blur past. Hold on tight, he laughs, flooring it. Philippe's world tilts. They weave between cars, the speedometer climbing. Driss bets Philippe €100 he can shake the police. Blue lights flash in the rearview. Driss swerves under an archway, and suddenly they're boxed in. 2 squad cars flank them. With effortless confidence, Driss leaps from the driver's seat. He slams the door, throws his hands up. He's having a seizure. You gotta help us get to the hospital, he shouts. The officers hesitate, spotting Philippe's convulsions. A wheelchair in the back seals the story. Within moments, the chase morphs into an escort mission. Blue lights now lead them down the Seine. Philippe's lips curl into a half-smile as Driss tosses him a smoke. Just months earlier, Philippe's mansion, an opulent relic of old Paris, had been eerily silent. His socialite assistant Magali and housekeeper Yvonne had interviewed dozens of candidates for Philippe's caregiver, but every applicant tiptoed around his disability, offering pity more than help. Then Driss burst through the door. He didn't want the job. He wanted a stamp. He wanted to prove he hadn't been hired so he could keep collecting benefits. Philippe, bored and amused, saw something different: raw energy, fearless honesty. Driss stormed in, sleeves rolled up, joking with Yvonne, flirting awkwardly with Magali. He refused to pull any punches. I'm not your usual type, he quipped. Philippe nodded, intrigued. Come back tomorrow for my signature. Back in Driss's cramped apartment in the projects, siblings clamored around him as he tried, unsuccessfully, to take a bath before dinner. His older sister Mina, the de facto mother figure, rescued him at the last minute. Peering out the window, Driss spotted his younger brother Adama slipping into a nondescript sedan, a telltale sign, Driss thought, of something illicit. He vowed to look out for him. Their mother arrived hours later, exasperated. Driss presented her with a stolen Faberge egg, claiming vacation souvenirs. She refused to accept apologies for 6 months of silence. Kicked out, Driss joined neighborhood friends for cigarettes and laughter under flickering streetlights. The next morning, Driss knocked on Philippe's door, again, for the signature. But this time Yvonne guided him through the Versailles halls, revealing Philippe's routines: morning physiotherapy, medication schedules, gentle massage to stave off muscle atrophy. Driss gawked at the lavish bathroom where Philippe bathed, then shuffled into the grand salon. Philippe offered the signed sheet, and a job, 1-month trial. He bet Driss wouldn't last 2 weeks. Driss grinned and took the challenge. No paperwork, no pity, just instructions: keep his legs flexed, transfer him to and from the wheelchair, help him shower, handle incontinence. On day 1, Driss recoiled at the sight of silk stockings he must don for Philippe's circulatory health. He gagged at the thought of cleaning Philippe's backside after bathroom use. But each time he balked, Philippe's wry amusement, and the hotel's salary, won him over. By sunset, Driss perched on the rooftop, sipping wine stolen from the kitchen. Below, Philippe dictated a letter to Magali. Yvonne warned Driss to mind his manners. But Driss raced through Philippe's mail, creating a separate folder for scantily clad escort flyers, much to Philippe's bemusement. One evening, Yvonne discovered a pistol in Driss's bag. She did not mention it. Instead, she eyed him with cautious distrust. On a crisp morning, Driss refused to load Philippe into the clunky van reserved for cargo. Instead, he unlocked a Ferrari still gleaming under a dusty cover. Philippe hesitated. This felt extravagant. Driss bolted the wheelchair mount and grinned. Pragmatic, he declared. Yvonne huffed as they roared down the avenue, wind whipping at Philippe's hair. Their destination, a modern art museum. Philippe admired the latest acquisition, a canvas splashed in crimson. Driss scoffed, calling it a toddler's tantrum in paint. Philippe laughed, appreciating the candor. Later, over espresso, a cousin revealed Driss's criminal record. Philippe waved it off. He treats me like a person, not a project. At night, Magali scolded Driss for flirting with every woman in the mansion. He shrugged, old habits die hard. But when Yvonne muted the baby monitor to share Philippe's secret letters to Eleanor, Driss listened. For 6 months, Philippe had poured his soul into purple prose, never meeting this woman. Driss scoffed at the dated romance, "Send a selfie, dude." The next dawn, Driss dialed Eleanor's number. Philippe, wide-eyed, snatched the phone. Minutes later, tears of joy streamed down his face. His pen pal was real, and on her way to Paris. That evening, they attended an opera. Driss mocked the costumes, Philippe chuckled, and the couple in the next box glared. Driss winked at Philippe, high culture, low budget. When Philippe decided to exchange photographs, Driss sifted through the snapshots. He chose a black and white portrait of Philippe smiling before the accident. Yvonne slipped it away, fearing heartbreak. Driss retaliated by firing her with a grin, only to rehire her seconds later when Philippe insisted. On a rooftop decked with fairy lights, Driss and Philippe shared a joint. The smoke curled upward like a peace offering. Philippe closed his eyes, memory of paragliding days flooding back. Driss teased him for nostalgia. Philippe admitted the crash hadn't broken his body, living without his wife had broken him. Months passed in a whirlwind. Driss's first acrylic painting of the same, sold to Philippe's cousin for 11,000 euros, Philippe's birthday party hijacked by Driss dancing Boogie Wonderland in the center of the floor. A late-night intervention when Elisa, Philippe's adopted daughter, overdosed on pills after a breakup. Driss negotiated an apology from her ex and brought croissants every morning for a month. Amid the revelry, family secrets surfaced. Under Yvonne's watchful eye, Philippe probed Driss about his past. Driss resisted, until finally he confessed that Mina and his parents were his aunt and uncle. He'd been adopted from Senegal at 8 to spare his biological mother's grief. His real name, Bakary Bassari. He'd taken Driss because kids in the orphanage used his birth name. The revelation hit Philippe hard. He realized he'd offered Driss an escape from pain, only to keep him at arm's length. That night, Philippe fired Driss, insisting he return to his family. "You belong there," he said. Driss packed, tears in his eyes. In the pre-dawn chill, Driss loaded his meager belongings into a taxi. Magali hugged him, unspoken respect passing between them. Yvonne pressed the escort folder into his hands. He tore it open, found Philippe's chosen photo inside, and tucked it into his pocket. Back in the projects, Driss stumbled on the same shadowy sedan outside Adama's apartment. His brother slumped behind the wheel, guilt and fear in his eyes. Driss confronted him gently, promising protection, this time as big brother, not caretaker. Meanwhile, Philippe tested the new hire, a prim, by-the-book nurse who bore no resemblance to Driss. Philippe barely tolerated him, the mansion echoing with stale politeness. Nights became unbearable. Phantom pain returned, and Philippe's calls to Yvonne went unanswered. Finally, Yvonne called Driss. "He needs you." Driss sprinted through the Paris streets, climbed the mansion's marble steps, and burst inside. Philippe lay on the floor, convulsing. Driss muddled through the seizure protocol, slapping wet towels to Philippe's head until the spasm subsided. He folded Philippe into his wheelchair and wheeled him onto the terrace. Under the Parisian moon, the city lights flickered, and Philippe gasped for air. Driss wrapped him in blankets, whispered encouragement, and lit a joint. Philippe inhaled, exhaled relief. As dawn broke, Driss tossed the joint aside, steadied Philippe's wheelchair, and they rolled toward the Seine. No words passed, none were needed. Suddenly, sirens, the same fleet of squad cars, cut through the morning calm, lights flashing. Driss's eyes gleamed, one last ride. He gunned the engine, and the chase began again. This time, it wasn't fear driving them, it was life. They screeched through narrow alleys, sprayed past cafe terraces, and burst into the open boulevard. The escort transformed back into pursuit. Driss maneuvered sharply, weaving through dawn traffic, guiding Philippe toward the open coast road. Waves crashed on the shore as the police finally fell back, flanking them no more. On the cliff's edge, Philippe stared at the endless ocean. Driss hopped out, bent to unlock the wheelchair straps, and took Philippe's hand. The sky blazed coral. Philippe closed his eyes, wind tousling his hair. Then, as if on cue, a private plane roared overhead, Philippe's personal jet. He'd sold Driss's painting to fund a trip. Documents fluttered to the ground, plane tickets to Morocco. Philippe grinned. Driss's heart pounded. Without hesitation, Driss climbed aboard. The engines hummed to life, lifting them above Paris one last time. Philippe pressed the button that raised his seat, and they soared, two unlikely friends bound by risk, laughter, and the thrill of being truly alive. And as the engines roared to life, these two unlikely friends didn't just soar above Paris, they wrote the rest of their own incredible story off-screen. Today, Count Philippe Pozo di Borgo lives in Morocco, happily remarried with 2 daughters. Abdel Yasmin Selou, our Driss, built a thriving business, is married, and has 3 children. And yes, they still keep that bond alive, just like in the film.